right, this morning we got a special guest in the studio. We're going to share her great book this morning. Good morning, Miss Christy. How are you today?
Fine, Regina. How you doing?
Well, I'm just blessed, just busy as a bee. You know, on a cold day, I bet it's cold your way, isn't it?
Very cold. It's like 8 degrees over here, and I am so cold.
Woohoo! Well, we ain't got time to talk about cold. We got to warm this up now. The conversation, talk about this great book that you have written. It talks about forever and always. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll jump in the middle of the book, and you can tell us some more information on your book today.
All righty. Well, I am from St. Louis, born and bred. I'm a member of the St. Louis Writers Guild. I'm also a member of the Publishers Association here in St. Louis. Recently, I had the honor of being elected president of our midday seniors. So I haven't had my first meeting yet, but we'll see how that goes.
Wow, that's interesting right there. And, of course, you're a writer, too, because, you know, a lot of folks may be interested in writing. And how did that come about with you writing? How did it all begin with you?
Well, my kids were like 3 and 6, and I just started getting ideas in my head, you know, thoughts in my head, and I thought, well, that's a pretty good thought. I'll have to write that down. So I'd grab a napkin or whatever I had, you know, and write it down. And then another thought would come in my head. So I'd have to do it again. And I kept this up for years, with kids, without kids, during school, without school, whatever. I kept writing my notes and gathering them up with something else to put all together.
Oh, yeah. You know, especially when you have here, papers here, and then you're thinking, how am I going to put all this together? Then you have to get a pen and paper and start translating and putting it all together in a story from the beginning through the time of the story and at the end of it. And it's amazing how it all just kind of works together and comes together.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I started with pencil and paper, and I ended up with computer.
Wow. You know, technology is so wonderful today that, you know, we would always write all these notes, sticky notes here, sticky notes there. Now we can all just sit down at the computer, put a book together, write it right in front of us, send it off to our publisher, get it published, and then get it back, and we can put it on the market for people to purchase, compared to way, way back yonder when all we did was pen and paper.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's amazing. Now, you have children as well, and you talked about them a little bit. Do they show any interest in writing, or grandchildren?
Grandchildren are more in the interest of singing and dancing and computers.
Awesome. Well, that's a good thing. You know, it takes all different kinds of activities to keep everybody going, so that's going to be good there, as they're showing their interest in that as well.
Oh, yeah, and we're doing the best we can to, help that along.
Exactly. Tell me about this book, how it came about, and a little bit of information to teach the folks about this book, because this morning we're going to give some of these books away. So tell us a little bit about it to tease them a little bit.
Well, I've always been interested in, in Civil War. I was never interested in history in school, but I was interested in the Civil War. Mm-hmm. So, the thoughts just started coming together about Abraham Lincoln and the Civil War, and what would it be like if I was in the Civil War or somebody I loved was in the war. Mm-hmm. So, like as I said earlier, thoughts just kept coming by. So I would write them down. The story opens where my young couple, Patricia and John, meet and fall in love, start a family, but she is not sure what he does. She knows he's a farmer, but she kind of thinks there's something else. But that's not revealed till later, if there is something else or not.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's going to be an interesting book as folks get to read this book. And do you have other books that you're working on right now to get ready to publish in the future?
I do. I'm getting ready to publish the sequel. The sequel is Today, Tomorrow, and Always. And where I left off in this book is immediately picked up. I have to apologize because I did leave people on a cliff at the end. Mm-hmm. But that was intentional, so that they would wonder what's going to happen and pick up the next book.
Oh, yeah. We've got to have a little glitch there to where folks can say, I want more of this. I've got to read the next version. When is it coming out? Miss Christy, that's what they get to a point, in these books of reading your stories and things like that. Do you have an idea in the future how soon this next edition is coming out?
Well, I'd like to have it out before the end of this year, before the end of 16. That's my goal.
Awesome. That is wonderful. And, of course, they can always go online and order this book, and they can get it sent right to them. Tell us the locations where they can get a hold of this book at.
They can get a hold of this book online, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and, of course, whosoeverpress.com. That is my publisher, Whosoever Press. And we would be more than happy just to send one out to you.
Awesome, I'm telling you. And they're very reasonably priced as well.
Absolutely. I wanted to keep the price within the range of everyone.
Right. That way folks can pick up the book and they take it home and enjoy it, and then by the end of 2016 or before end of 2016, they can get the second edition there to where the ending is leaving off to pick right back up into the story and carry it on through to another part in this book of the great story forever and always, with a second edition coming out of a new book.
Absolutely.
That is awesome. All right, Christy. Well, we've enjoyed a little bit of information. Any other points or hot points you want to talk about this book or hit on a minute or two while we still got a few more moments?
Sure. It takes place in Orleans Parish, which is the previous name to New Orleans. And did you know that 600,000 people were killed in the Civil War?
Wow, that is amazing. A lot of folks don't go back in the history to think about that.
I mean, it was brother against brother. It was father against son. I mean, that war just almost wiped out America. Mm-hmm. And I can't tell you at this interview, I cannot tell you who lives and who dies, because that would be the defeat of the whole book.
Yes, exactly. That is true. That is amazing. Well, Christy, I tell you, some folks are going to get this book this morning, and they're going to get a couple of the bottles that you had sent from Whosoever Press with your emblem and things there on it forever and always, with your name, along with the bookmarkers, your business cards. And how can they contact you? Do you have a website or an email or an office number that they might could reach you at for more information upon your stuff? Sure.
They can reach me at christysmith.net, or they can call me directly, 314-397-4474.
Awesome. Well, Christy, I appreciate you taking time out and sharing this book with us, and we're looking for more books from you and more great writings upon these pages that you have shared in this book and in with your ministry as well. That's what it's all about, just writing good stuff to encourage folks and let them know a little bit of history and how things kind of progress through the years.
As much as I hated geography and history in school, that's how much I love it now.
Wow. Isn't that amazing how it turns around?
It is. It is. I would have never thought such a thought.
I'm telling you, it really does. Well, Christy, thank you for sharing your ministry with us, your books with us, and we're looking for a great coming further with your next book, and we'll be getting back with you and sharing that when you get ready to release that new book later this year.
All right. Thank you so much for the call, Regina.
Well, thank you, and you have a blessed New Year's into 2016, and enjoy your year.
All right. You too. God bless.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.